Now, if you've been in any retail store lately, then you've already started to see some fall and some Halloween items already start to hit the stores. Well, I put together a compilation of some of my best fall and Halloween projects from 2022. That's right, it is Code Orange. I'm Jamie, the crafty DIY guy. Welcome back to my channel. For project number one, I'm going to be using this 3D pumpkin that I picked up from Dollar Tree. This was in the plus section, which is why you see that $5 price point, and I do think it was worth every single penny. Now, I did think that this would be a lot of fun to incorporate some of this Dollar Tree wallpaper into, and also I had this scrapbook paper, which I really do love, and of course, you know, purple and blue and white, such great color combinations. Love all of these patterns. I'm actually only going to end up using 2 of the patterns that you're going to see. We're going to be using 2 sheets of each pattern because we've got 2 sides of the pumpkin. Now, if you wanted to cover your pumpkin up in multiple patterns, by all means, go for it. The first thing I'm going to do is just kind of figure out how this sucker goes together, because I want to make sure that I am, conscious of kind of where I'm placing my scrapbook paper, where I'm placing my wallpaper, and also because the stem is kind of the hero piece, if you will. The stem is kind of what I want as my showstopper for this. So I'm going to be using that wallpaper. Now, the wallpaper is great because it does have this kind of peel and stick back, and it makes doing a project like this so easy. If I actually had peel and stick wallpaper and enough to go around, I probably would have covered this entire thing in the wallpaper. How cute would that have been to have that wood grain of a pumpkin on this MDF wood pieces? I think this is super cute. Now, just go ahead and take your pumpkin piece and you are going to center this down on top of the sticky wallpaper like so. I did kind of press that down a little bit, and then again, flipping it over, pressing it down again with my hands. If you have a squeegee, or if you have a Cricut tool or an old credit card or anything like that, you could definitely go back and do that. I do recommend first, though, cutting off the sides. And when you're doing that, you're going to want to leave a little bit of an edge. And then also you're going to cut these little kind of strip pieces right along your edges, because that is going to allow you to flip these pieces inward and kind of follow that curve of the pumpkin. And you're going to want to do this whenever you are doing anything like this. And that's also why I trimmed very closely to my pumpkin. So when it's all done, you're going to have something that looks like this. You can take a little X-Acto knife for a razor and just kind of cut out the kind of center parts that you need to. And now you're going to go through and just replicate what you did with your scrapbook pieces. Now, for this first one, I'm going to use the 2 purple ones that you saw there, but I am going to paint the edges first. I'm going to take out my Waverly Elephant paint. This is a chalk paint that I love working with, and I'm going to paint the edges. This gray is going to go really good with the patterns that you see for my pumpkins, and I do want to make sure that nothing is going to show. Remember, with our wallpaper pieces, we had the adhesive back on that. But with our pieces here and the scrapbook paper, we don't really have that option. So to apply this, you can do 2 things. You can either use glue or you can use Mod Podge. Believe it or not, I actually did a combo of this because I started off with the purple glue. For some reason, mine would not spray, and I just didn't think it was getting thick enough. So I did end up also combining Mod Podge with it. And I just mixed the 2 with my sponge. After I finished the first one, then I also just started working on the second one, doing the exact same process, adding some Mod Podge, adding some purple glue, and just going through and really saturating that. And then again, I did use my squeegee piece just to make sure. Now, this is what it looks like all assembled. And I love how it's got that kind of weathered look because of the pieces, but we are going to cover the stem. I did not like the wood stem, so I'm using this twine that I picked up from Crafter Square. And we're just going to simply glue that and just start wrapping this all around the stem of this pumpkin. And when it's all done, you've got the absolute cutest pumpkin I love the way this looks. I think this is going to be such a fall staple. This is going to be absolutely adorable in my guest room, and I love the way that this turned out. Now, if you remember a few months ago, I went to Daiso. That was a store that is a Japanese dollar store. And I found these really cute wire pumpkins. And the moment I saw them, I knew I was going to save them for fall. They've been sitting in my fall bin for quite a while now, and it is time to use them. I was thinking that this potpourri from Dollar Tree could be such a cute addition. And I think that these could just be really cute, like table toppers. Of course, go ahead and remove the price tags and the strings and all that jazz. Now, if you don't have something like this, or you don't have a Daiso store that's near you, I think you could look for a couple different types of options. I know that I've seen these kind of wire pumpkins in a lot of different places. You may have to get creative with the way that the potpourri is kind of staying in there. I know for this bag of potpourri, there are lots of smaller pieces in here, and I just want to have something that's going to have some substance to it, and it's going to stand up, and obviously something that's not going to fall through all of the wire kind of pieces there. Now, this particular batch is I believe this is the gardenia and thyme, or lemon and thyme flavor or scent. I'm certainly not eating it, and I'm going to stuff it inside these pumpkins. Now, these particular pumpkins will kind of come apart, so it's actually really, really easy. I'm going to grab that gardenia that's in there and definitely add that. And then I'm just going to add some of these bright, colorful pieces. There are some fun eucalyptus pieces. There are some lemon slices that have looked like they've been potpourriized. I don't know what, is it dried out? I guess it's dried out. And I'm just going to fill these up with all kinds of fun little pieces. And then when I snap it back together, I will go ahead and kind of fill in any areas here. Now, my second pumpkin actually did not come apart, so I did have to kind of feed everything through. I added some bows, and how cute are these? And they smell really good too. Now, this next DIY is going to be super, super easy. If you have not seen these cute little vases at Dollar Tree, they come in white and they also come in black. I grabbed the white one. I also grabbed this harvest candle during my last haul. I wanted to actually just use this metal leaf. So I'm going to use it, and then of course the candle I will use for another time. Now, the leaf does have this twine on it, which I originally was going to toss, but I think I'm actually going to incorporate it in with this beautiful ribbon. I'm obsessed with this ribbon, or this twine kind of combo, we'll call it. I grabbed this at Hobby Lobby last year, and I am using it as sparingly as possible because I really do like it. Now, I've seen it out at Hobby Lobby this year, so definitely check it out. Now, I think I'm going to take my two pieces here and just kind of wrap them around the neck of the vase here and just create something very, very simple that just has a fall twist to it, and something I can put some fresh flowers in, or, some fresh harvest plants or something. And for this, again, I just took that twine, tied it around, and then for this piece, I'm actually going to reserve some of this extra long string here, this extra long twine, and just tie it around and cut off the excess. The excess I'll save for something else. I added some floral stems, and this is how cute it looks. Look how adorable this is, and it is the perfect complement to my guest room. Now, I've seen these wooden hoops at Dollar Tree for quite a while, and I did buy 4 packages the last time I went, and I was kind of wanting something that almost had a little bit of a farmhouse twist to it, but also something that was metal and, had some substance to it. And making these spheres are so, so easy. You will buy 3 packages because you're going to want 3 of each size ring. And you're just literally going to put them together like you see me doing here to create these really cool looking orbs. Now, I have seen orbs like this at stores like Home Goods and Pottery Barn that are quite expensive. And if you think about it, I paid $3.75 for this packages, or for these 3 packages, because I'm trying to think about math now with the $1.25 per package now that Dollar Tree has increased their price points. But my gosh, these are so, so easy. Now, you could certainly add some glue if you want to. I actually didn't add any glue because I was thinking maybe I'd want to recycle these. I took them outside and I have the most beautiful steel colored spray paint. This is like a farmhouse steel color, and I'm obsessed with it. I love it. And when you spray it on these metal or these wood orbs, they end up looking like metal. How cute and how substantial looking are these? I love them. Now, this next DIY is kind of a Michaels and a Dollar Tree combo. I found these great octagon shaped, they're like hanging shelves, but they've got a picture hanger on the back and they've got twine. So they're kind of like cool. And I'm going to bust one of the back sides out of this one. That did not sound appropriate, but I think you know what I mean by this. And then any of these kind of straggler pieces, we're just going to pull those off and then sand away any of that excess or any of those rough spots, because we do want these to kind of fit together as tightly as possible. Now, I'm going to take this picture hanger that's on the back off of this. I always save those. And then I'm going to pull that twine off and then just kind of sand that down again to make sure it's nice and smooth. Now, for the piece that I kind of took the backside out of it, I'm now going to use that on top of the other piece. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I am going to create kind of a planter out of these. And I'm pushing them together. I did use Surebonder's wood glue. Now I'm going to take my antiquing wax, and believe it or not, yes, I'm still using that same dirty looking jar of antiquing wax that I've had forever, and I love it though. It is my absolute favorite, and I love the way it looks on like craft wood and Dollar Tree wood. All I'm going to do is just, as you see, I'm applying it to my kind of antiquing wax cloth there and then wiping off the excess. And then for any of those smaller pieces, I just took a brush. Now for this part, I'm adding some feet onto the bottom of this, and I'm just going to make sure I have a bead in each corner. These beads were already painted white, so I didn't even have to worry about painting them. Now you've got a nice solid base for your planters, and then I'm going to add some Dollar Tree rocks. Again, something very, very simple. Most Dollar Trees have these. And then I'm going to add some succulents. I have to cut off the tips on them just a little bit, but how cute is this? There's something about fall and rocks and succulents that just make me think about the wintertime, and I love it. And then for my last DIY, I'm actually going to be using these pumpkins from Dollar Tree. You know how much I loved these pumpkins. This is the exact idea that I thought about when I saw these. Now, for your pumpkins, go ahead and do yourself a favor. Cut the tags off. Don't try and rip them off, because if you do, you're going to poke holes in your pumpkins. And the way Dollar Tree put these price tags on these pumpkins, they're already putting holes in them, so you don't want to mess anything up. Now, speaking of messing things up, I filmed this in a extremely slow speed for some reason. And now I'm trying to attempt to speed the video up, but basically all I'm doing is taking two Hawaiian hula skirts, or a Hawaiian hula skirt from the kids section, and splitting it up. I'm literally just kind of cutting off a piece of it so you have nice long raffia pieces. And then I'm going to take it and split it into two parts. And then I'm just using some tape very simply to separate them. And you've got them in my wooden dough bowl here. Now I'm adding these maple leaf stems. Again, I've got the orange and the red kind of stem, and then I'm going to add the yellow on this side. And then I'm just going to start filling it with my pumpkins. I am literally going to kind of play with the leaves a little bit. And then for the pumpkins, I am just going to start adding them. How beautiful is this for a centerpiece? This I am obsessed with. It is going to go on my coffee table and be a staple in my living room. Take this copper colored metal piece that I picked up from Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. Also 2 of these arrows and 1 of these trays. We're going to be making kind of a fall-inspired bird feeder here. So the first thing we're going to do is take our arrows and we're going to remove the strings, the staples, and as well as the price tag. Then we're going to take our crocodile, I believe that's what this is called, and we are going to snap off the bottom parts of those arrows. We're going to make sure that everything is sanded nice and flat and that these are the same exact size. Then we are going to glue these down inside of our trays, kind of like so. For these, you do want to kind of center them because they're going to show just a little bit of the side, not a whole lot though. And you know what? I'm fine with it. I took these outside and I spray painted it this midnight blue color that I love so much. And now we are going to take our metal piece and we're going to assemble our roof. Now with this piece, we are going to kind of bend it in the middle. There are 6 kind of slats on each side and there's a 7th one in the middle there. So just kind of crease it there and bring your corners together. And then we do want to drill a hole in this because we are going to hang this in our tree because this is a bird feeder. And you do want to have a piece or a little hole up there. I did add some all-purpose kind of glue from Shore Bonder here, and I am just going to do this on the top. If you wanted this to be more permanent for outside, I would definitely use like an E6000. Now I'm just going to go ahead and take my twine, feed it right up through the hole there, and you've got the cutest bird feeder. All you have to do is just add some bird seed, and I think the birds are going to love this. And for my next project, I'm going to take 3 of these arches from Dollar Tree. I also have these great packages of wood leaves that are already painted. I did pick these up at Hobby Lobby. You're going to go ahead and remove the center pieces from your arches. You can save those for another project. I think that they would be really fun to incorporate. Now we're going to take our fall leaves. And for these, I'm going to get 2 that are 2 different colors. And the idea here is we're going to just create some fall-inspired arches that you can use for some home decor. For these, because they are already painted, I'm just going to glue these down and just kind of figure out where the glue needs to go on the arch itself. That way I don't have any kind of drips or any kind of, mess on the backside. And then for my leaves, I'm going to be overlapping those just a little bit, and I'm just going to be adding some hot glue onto the part of the leaf that's kind of overlapping with the other leaf. That way I do have really good hold. Now I am going to repeat that for all 3 of mine, trying to make sure that I'm using at least 2 different colors, and I've got 3 different great looking arches like so. Now we are going to flip these over and I'm going to incorporate some of this faux leather ribbon because we are going to kind of hinge these together. I didn't have any small little hardware hinges and I thought this would be a nice touch. So I did cut 4 pieces of that ribbon and I'm cutting it at the same length. And then I am just going to go ahead and glue those together kind of like so, creating 3 arches that are now all kind of hinged together. Now for the top here, I am going to add some of these burlap bows. I picked up these burlap bows at Hobby Lobby and they're already tied, they're wired, and they are quite fun and very, very easy to use, especially if you're someone like myself that is not great with bows. And again, I really love the way that this turned out. I love the white. I love the pop of white. I think these are very cool for almost like a fall transition, and I love the way these look. For the next project, I found this Dollar Tree frame. It was from class of 2021, and you would think it would have been like 50 cents or something like that, but it wasn't. I paid full price for it, but that's okay. It is the size that I needed. I also grabbed a bag of these twigs. I didn't know if I would need 1 or 2 bags, but I ended up just using 1. I'm going to go ahead and take my frame, and I'm going to take it outside, and I am going to spray paint it. I'm just going to spray paint it black using the Rust-Oleum matte black spray paint. This is just so none of that white kind of pokes through when I am gluing my twigs down. So we are going to create a very cool kind of woodland inspired frame. And I'm just going to take these Dollar Tree birch pieces and we are just going to literally start to glue these down in place. Now, anytime you're working with these, I always like to, especially if you're gluing them and trying to glue them flat, I will glue any of the kind of knots towards the top just to make sure that everything is fitting together and fitting together as closely and kind of tightly as possible. And when it's all done, you've got this really beautiful frame. I love the way this looks. I just need to get a 4x6 photo for the inside. Now, this next project isn't necessarily fall, but it is something that I did see when I was out looking for some fall items from Dollar Tree. I found this great peel and stick wall tile, and I really loved this. And I thought that this could be really beautiful for a picture frame of some kind. Now, I found this picture frame from Dollar Tree, and it had this kind of matting in it. And I really wanted to use that matting because I thought that using this kind of tin or this faux tin piece could be really beautiful inside of a picture frame. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of take this apart, and I'm going to take the matting and I'm going to tape this down right on top of my tile. Now, you don't want to remove the plastic there, because if you do, this is going to become very, very sticky, and you're not going to be using that for this particular piece. And you'll find out that when you kind of cut this anyway, that sticker or that sticky piece ends up not sticking to the tile. So hopefully that made sense. And if you've worked with this before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I will say that this totally was inspired by Natalie from Design to the Nines. If you've not checked out her channel, definitely check her out. She did some beautiful picture frames with these kind of tiles, and I was definitely inspired by her. So huge shout out to Natalie. Definitely check her out. Design to the Nines. She is fantastic, and she is super talented. Now, for the kind of insert there that we're kind of tracing over, you do need to cut out the center of that as well, because you're kind of creating a tin looking matting for your photograph. Now, I am going to keep this in that blue and white because I really love that pattern. And of course, hello, blue is my favorite color. And this is a little bit of work. You're going to need a good sharp cutting tool. And I'm just going to go through. Now we're going to clean the glass, and we are going to add our insert. Now, that photograph is a picture of me and my grandparents before they passed away. I was so fortunate to be able to take this picture, and I really love the way this looks. And for this next project, I'm going to take this Dollar Tree tube ribbon. I also have these cute little scarecrows that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. I have a sheet of this scrapbook paper that I picked up from Michael's. It came in a really big bundle. And then I have this Dollar Tree cutting board. I'm going to go ahead and use the inside of this cutting board to my advantage. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to kind of center my paper on here. And then I'm just going to take my fingernail and just kind of go along the edge there, and it's going to create a line that I can cut out to insert into the center of my cutting board. Now, I'm just going to use this Dollar Tree Jot glue. I love this, and it works really well for projects like this, and we're just going to glue it down. Now, for our scarecrows, I'm going to decide if I'm going to use one or two, and I decided to ultimately just go ahead and do two of them. I'm going to go ahead and glue them side by side. They're friends. They're hanging out. They are having a good time, and now we are just going to wrap the top of our cutting board. I'm going to take this tube ribbon, and when you pull this really tight, it looks a lot like twine. I really love the way this looks. I especially love wrapping things like this with it. Now, for the top, I'm just going to embellish it with some ivy and a bow. Again, super cute, and love the way that this looks. Now, this next project is actually a recycled project. This was a wreath that I created with a bunch of succulents that I've had for quite some time. I love this concept, and I wanted to go ahead and make something that was kind of fall transitional, again, something that I can use on the door now, and it'll carry me through early fall. Now, I have these great pieces that were left over from my stash from last year, so I'm going to incorporate them, and we are going to start adding them to our wreath form. Now, the great thing about this is that because I use a series of hot glue and tape, you can easily reuse this wreath form. And as you can see, I'm just kind of using that combo of tape and glue and just really adding all of these great embellishments back to the wreath. And when it's all done, I've got this gorgeous wreath for my front door. I love the way this looks. Now, for this last project, if you are wanting fall to get here fast like I am, you're going to take a jar. Any kind of mason jar will work. You're going to take a lid from Dollar Tree, this 2-pack, and then this pumpkin scented potpourri that I picked up also from Dollar Tree. You're going to go ahead and just fill your jar. You're going to replace the lid. tie a bow around it, and I spray painted mine blue, and you've got the scents and smells of fall. And we're gonna take this pumpkin cutout that I picked up from Dollar Tree. Also, I have some of these beads that are on hand. I'm sure I picked these up at Michael's or Walmart. I always seem to have beads on hand, and I actually love the different colors of this particular box of beads. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take some twine and we are going to strand up these beads. Now, you're going to want to make sure that you've got enough for one side and then also the other side. And we're just going to be doing this around the center part of that pumpkin. So I just thought it would be easier to create a strand rather than gluing each bead down individually. So now what we're going to do is bring those two ends together and tie them off. And you're going to want to make sure that this fits within that center cutout of your pumpkin. Now, if you wanted to cover the entire pumpkin in beads, you certainly could. But I think when you see kind of what the final product is here, you'll totally understand why I did what I did. Now, before we glue any of our beads down, we are going to take some antiquing wax and we are going to just wax up or stain up this wood. And right now, I'm just kind of doing a lighter coat with my antiquing wax because, as you know, with any antiquing wax, anytime you put down the wax on the wood, you can immediately wipe this off and you don't have to worry about it being excessive. Now, while that is drying, I am going to create a tassel, and I'm just going to take, once again, my same twine that I used for the beads, and I am going to just make a nice kind of chunky tassel. So to do this, all you have to do is wind up a bunch of twine. You can use your hands, depending on how big you can spread your fingers. You can use a piece of cardboard. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. And then you're simply just going to tie off a piece of it like I am doing here. And you're going to kind of create, I think it kind of looks like a little rag doll that my Aunt Bonnie used to make. And now we're going to just tie this on to the ends here of our beaded strand. And then after you get that tied off, go ahead and cut off any of those strings that you're not going to need. And then for the bottom pieces of your twine there, where you see them kind of ringed up still, or where the ends, have not been cut, now you're just going to cut them, take a nice sharp pair of scissors, go ahead and even it up, and then you've got a tassel. Now, before we glue these down, I do want to give my pumpkin a little definition. So I am going to go in with some more antiquing wax, and I'm using a makeup sponge, by the way, to apply this. And all I am doing is, because this pumpkin is kind of a cutout, not quite 3D, but I think you know what I mean. I'm taking those pieces that are in the center and the sides, and I am going to darken those up because I want those to really pop when I am making this project. And I'm just going through, being very patient, just being very careful, and putting some antiquing wax on those kind of three sides of the pumpkin. I was going to say humps, but that just didn't sound right. So the parts of the pumpkin there, I'm getting them nice and dark. And then after this is done, I'm going to go ahead, take my heat gun, make sure that this is nice and dry. And then also I'm going to clean my hands because I don't want to transfer any of that antiquing wax that's on my hands over to my beads. So now that I've got my beads all ready and everything is dried, we are going to go through now and just position where our beads are going to go. Right now, nothing is glued down because you want to make sure that that tassel is going to be centered. So I'm going to find my center point, and then I am going to glue that part down. We're going to do this kind of in slow parts. So go ahead and add a little bit of glue, really just enough to make sure that your center point is nice and centered. Go ahead and squish those beads down inside of that glue. I'm using wood glue, by the way, from Sure Bonder. And now you can take your other beads kind of up like you see me doing here, and you can add the rest of your hot glue. I did this fairly quickly and was able to just get everything stuck down. I did add a pretty generous amount of glue, and everything will hold in place. So then you just kind of roll your beads right into their little canal there. And then you've got this display, which looks like this. I think it's super, super cute, but I did want to add something else to it. So I'm taking a piece of my hula skirt that I've been chopping up pretty much all year and making a bow with the raffia pieces. That is probably one of the best hacks that I've learned. And that was from Megan over at Glue Guns and Roses. She actually told me to buy the hula skirts during the summertime and save them because they are so much easier to work with when making bows or anything with raffia because they're so long. The pieces are so much longer than the raffia bundles that you would find inside Dollar Tree or like in the Crafter Square section. So definitely go and do that. I love it. But when it's all done, this is what it looked like. I think it was super, super cute, and I'm very, very happy with this one. Now this next pumpkin is kind of going to be a spring inspired, I guess we can say. These pumpkin cutouts I love. I picked this up at Dollar Tree. Love the texture that this kind of looks like it has. And I'm just going to embrace that texture because I really like it. Now these are from Deco Art. This is a package of transfers that you can buy. And I thought that these were great. I love the size of them. Loved that they're going to be super, super easy to use. And we are going to kind of make a, transitional pumpkin. A lot of it's still really, really hot around the country where you live. And maybe you're wanting to get fall or wanting to sneak in some fall decor. And I think that this is a great, great way to do it. These rub-on transfers are such a great size. And I think that they're really cute. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut the pieces that I want off of here. We're going to use one of these oversized fern pieces. And all you have to do with any kind of rub-on transfers, just make sure that you don't take that backing off until you are ready to place it on. Go ahead and place it down and make sure that is where it is going to go, because a lot of times this is already starting to stick to your surface. Now take a credit card, take a squeegee. If you've got a Cricut machine, take your Cricut paddle like I've got here and just slowly go back and forth and then peel away. And it looks like you had a Cricut, and maybe you don't have a Cricut. Having these kind of oversized rub-on transfers are perfect. Now I've got this welcome sign. It seems a little flat though, and I'm gonna play with it still. I was originally just going to do the welcome sign and the piece of fern, but I think it definitely needs a few more embellishments. So butterflies are always something that's very significant and very important in my family because butterflies do remind me of my grandmother. And she loved butterflies too. So every time I see a butterfly, of course, I always think about my grandmother. So we are going to add the butterfly. I did not stick that welcome sign yet because I'm still not super happy with it. But we're going to go ahead and take our butterfly and once again, just do the rub-on transfer and get her all set up and beautiful. And I love the color with the orange, and it's kind of, blending into some of the fall colors. Now with the welcome sign, this is about where I am going to place it. And then I want to add this little ladybug. That is also a rub-on transfer from that set that I picked up from Deco Art. You can go to decoart.com and find these types of things on their website. That's actually where I got it. And just go ahead and rub on and get everything ready. And you'll be able to have a super, super cute pumpkin. Now, for my welcome sign, again, I was like, I need some height. So I took my tool out here and I started cutting into these Jenga blocks. Now, this tool actually cuts really, really well, and it's not super hard to use. This I can't think of the name of this thing right now, but it takes a little bit of force, but it cuts through those Jenga blocks really, really easily. And I just cut down some small pieces that I could literally just glue on the back. I knew that regardless of where I cut them, as long as I used a certain side of them, they would be the same height. And I just cut them down so they would be small enough that they would be hidden kind of behind the letters there. So I'm taking them and I'm just kind of spacing them out, and then I'm going to glue them on top, and you've got the cutest sign ever. I added another raffia bow, and I love the way that this turned out. This next project, this is a total dupe, and this is so easy. Anybody could do it. I saw a very similar wreath at Kirkland's, and it was like $45, and I was like, that is insane. I had this wreath from Target. It was in the dollar spot section, and then I had the sunflower stickers that I picked up from Hobby Lobby, and then I had the sunflower ribbon that I found at Dollar Tree. So I think altogether the wreath was $3. The stickers were probably $3 or $4 with a coupon, and then I had the ribbon that was $1.25. So I am literally just recreating this wreath that I saw, or giving it my version of this wreath. Now I have enough sunflowers to go completely around, and I am going to add this bow into the middle here. And the sunflowers do have stickers on the back, but they're obviously not going to stay. So I am just going to add some hot glue onto the what is that? The boxwood wreath there that I've got. And we're just going to work our way around with these stickers, kind of spreading them out, making them as evenly possible. The great thing about this is because the sunflowers, they will stick directly onto that plastic wreath, and it works out really, really cute. I think that this is, especially because I saved so much money doing this, I thought that this would be a super, super easy project for really anybody that's just getting started in crafting, or anybody that just wants to do a simple, fun project. I love sunflowers in the fall and really like the way that this is turning out. Now for my bow, I'm just going to take some twine and tie it off in the middle. And then I did create some kind of ribbon pieces. I added the sunflower to the center, and it is done. For my next DIY, we are going to be using these little mini baskets that we picked up last season. I've also got this wood box that I picked up from Dollar Tree Plus. I have these laser wood cutouts, these wood apples, and these hay bales. Now we are going to take all of the hardware off of this box because we're actually not going to use it. We're not going to use the lid either, but definitely save that lid. For these laser wood cutouts, we are going to search through these. You've got a lot of cute options. Hello Autumn, Give Thanks, Hello Fall, there's Blessed, and this one in particular, Farm Fresh, I really, really loved. So I took my antiquing wax out, kind of gave it an aged look, so we would have an aged sign for our little apple orchard. I took all my apples, I spray painted them outside, and then for the hay bales, we are just going to start to arrange those hay bales. Now, I'm just trying to figure out kind of what I want to do right now. I haven't glued anything down as of yet. And then once I do kind of have that vision, I will start to glue these down. And these hold with hot glue really, really well. They are great. I love working with these little things, and I have not been able to find them this year. These were actually left over from last year. So go ahead and arrange your hay bales however you want. And then for our sign, for our apple orchard, we are going to take that, we're going to glue it in the back of the box like so. And now it is time to start picking some apples. So we are going to grab one of our baskets, and we are going to fill that up with some apples. Now I did not glue these down. You could certainly glue them down if you wanted to, but for this particular one, we are just going to put this basket of apples on top of our hay bale right here. You can do that just by adding a chunk of hot glue, and then take your basket and just glue it right down. And then for the other basket, I am going to add some glue in the bottom of this one because these baskets are tipped over and there's some apples spilling out all over the orchard here. And I'm just going to place this basket on the side like you see here. Then we're going to spread some apples around, and you've got the cutest little apple orchard. Now, I did end up kind of emphasizing the side there with some antiquing wax, and I love the way this turned out. I think it is so, so cute and super, super adorable. Next DIY is super, super easy. We are going to take this bowl and this plate. We are going to create a little tiered tray with this. Now you could use this for a serving piece. You could use this for a candle. There's a lot of different options. And I kind of hinted during my last shopping haul that I was going to do something like this. Just simply add some super glue and then mix in a little hot glue. That way you get an immediate bond. Join those together and boom, you've got a very cute tiered tray that you can use for staging or a candle. I love it. Who does not love a pickup truck during the fall filled with pumpkins? I found these placemats and I've had these since last year. I also found these dish mats for fall this year and thought they could be really, really cute to combine together to create a pillow. Very, very easy. Take one of the Dollar Tree dish mats, just simply remove any of the tags that are on there and add some hot glue. Now, this is fabric glue from Shore Bonder, and you can get this in a variety of different places. You can find it in the link in my store, in my Amazon store. Check this out. All you have to do is stuff your pillow. Go ahead and glue on 3 sides. Stuff your pillow with foam or pillow filler, whatever you have on hand. You can even use plastic Dollar Tree bags if you wanted to do this for outside. It creates the cutest little pillow or the cutest little piece of decor. I love it. Next project is a wreath that is all from Dollar Tree. I was able to get the wreath form in the Dollar Tree Plus section, this gorgeous garland from Dollar Tree Plus, and then all of these kind of accoutrements that I've picked up along my haul. So this wreath is kind of a raffia wreath, but I will show you one thing. Do not cut these straps that are going across the wreath form, because if you do, this raffia wreath is going to fall completely apart, and you do not want this. Now, go ahead and remove all that plastic, and then we are going to take our first strand of garland. And again, this is garland that was from Dollar Tree Plus. It was $5. The wreath form was $3. And I did grab 2 of the garland strands. Now, I am just going to take this and I am awkwardly wrapping it around my camera kind of holder is not quite high enough. So just wrap it. Don't even worry about where everything is falling, where the leaves are falling, where the pine cones are going. Just go ahead and wrap it. And I love doing this, by the way, for almost every single wreath that I do. I love using garland because garland already has everything in it that you need for the most part. And it's a super easy way to get a good base going. So now that you've got, a couple of your garlands wrapped around your raffia form, now you can kind of start playing with it and fluffing it out and, manipulating it and moving it around. We haven't stuck anything down. We haven't glued anything down because the garland does have wire in it. So it's holding to the wreath form. So this is kind of what it looks like after I have fluffed it out. And I think it's really, really cute, just like this, but I do want to add a few more items to it. So I did have 2 packages of this garland from Dollar Tree. The $1.25 garland's quite different looking than the $5 garland. I had these pieces here, but I ended up not using those floral pieces because they always kind of fall apart, and then Mr. Otis ends up eating them, and he doesn't need to eat styrofoam. And then I have these pumpkins, which at first I have to tell you I was not going to use, but you'll see what I ended up doing at the end. So I also have some of these flowers. I've had these flowers for a while. I think that these are great, and I do love how they pick up on the colors. So I started kind of adding those in. Now on the back side of the wreath, I did cut away kind of any of those leaves that were just kind of in the way, not allowing it to be flat, and we are going to add those back into the wreath, so don't worry, there's no waste going on here. And then for the flowers, because they have those great wire stems and because this wreath form, again, is that kind of raffia, you can just stick these directly into the wreath form. It's actually really, really easy. There's nothing that I've done here that is glued down, and when it is all done, I am absolutely in love with this. I love the way it looks on my yellow front door. To me, this is harvest. Now for this next project, we are going to take some Hot Wheels tracks that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I tried to find these 2 packs of the tracks, but couldn't find enough of them. So I ended up buying these single tracks, but now you're going to end up seeing, or at least in the video, you're going to end up seeing that I end up not using all the tracks, and I don't end up using these wood beads either. I do, however, end up using this piece of wood. Now, first thing you're going to want to do is just find the center spot of your wood square. And I'm just using a ruler and just kind of dragging my pen down there and kind of finding that center spot. I did put a screw in the middle of that and just kind of drill a hole in there. And this is a nut and a bolt, or I think that's what it's called. I unfortunately did not get one that was long enough, and this is the only size that I had. So the idea here was that I was going to be joining all 6 of these tracks together, kind of like this. And as I was kind of going through everything, I would be creating this kind of pumpkin out of all of them. And by the way, I don't know what's going on with my footage here. My camera keeps messing up on me. So I just settled for a twofer instead of a sixer, but I think you kind of get the idea. If you had a long enough washer and bolt or nut and bolt, you could totally do this. Now, I forgot, like a bonehead, to paint the base of this first. So I did just kind of go with a white. You could certainly paint this any color you wanted to. I originally was going to paint everything white, including the orange track, and I was going to glue those beads on there, but I ended up just kind of going with the orange because I really did like the orange, and I think the orange is kind of perfect for fall and kind of perfect for a pumpkin. Now you're going to go ahead and just kind of play around with the tracks and get them kind of round or at least kind of rectangular. And then I'm going to add some wood pieces from Dollar Tree right on the top to kind of create a stem. And then I'm going to take these leaves and add it. I added a battery operated tea light. So cute. Really love the way that this turned out. Now, this next DIY is something that you could totally hang on the door. I really love the way that this turned out. I had this oversized kind of monogram letter and these great green and kind of natural color beads. I'm just going to create a quick strand of the beads. I love the green for fall, and I also love that kind of natural color. This is also something that you could absolutely use all year long. You could certainly change up the beads even if you wanted to. And we're just going to get a strand of beads, kind of, whatever size you really want. I just wanted to alternate my beads, and now I'm going to add my twine and some glue onto the base there, or onto the back side, I should say, and we're going to go ahead and hang this up on the wall. I love the way that this turned out, and it actually looks really cute on my front door as well. Now, this next DIY was definitely inspired by Hobby Lobby and also by Shannon over at the Daily DIYer. I loved this so much on her channel, and I have a kind of a leather leaf garland that I bought from Hobby Lobby last year, and I wanted to create something that would really complement it. And when I saw Shannon do this, I was really excited about it. So definitely check out her channel over at the Daily DIYer. I took my 2 different leather leaves and separated them. Then I just took them outside and spray painted some of them navy. Now I did switch up my twine. I'm going with just a regular twine here, and I'm going to snip the ends off of the leaves because you really don't need them. And we're going to just tie a very simple kind of loop at the end of this. That way, when we do hang up our garland, we have a place kind of for the hook. In my case, I have a brick mantle, so I have to have that little hook because I've got some clear little clips or little command strips on there. You're just going to take your clothespins and you're going to pin your leather leaves on there. And I'm just alternating because I took some of my leather leaves outside and I spray painted them navy. I took the kind of smaller leaf and painted it navy, and then I took some of the larger leaf and painted it navy. And with that navy and that leather color, it creates such a cool garland strand, and it's the perfect color combo for my mantle. I love this so much. And for this next DIY, we're going to take this cute little wagon I picked up from Target Dollar Spot, as well as these raffia pumpkins. The wagon, I think, was $5, and the little pumpkins were $1 each. I also have this hay bale from Dollar Tree and the hula skirt that is from Dollar Tree. Cut this up into smaller pieces. By the way, huge shout out to Megan over at Glue Guns N' Roses for coming up with this idea. She shared this in one of her videos such a long time ago, and now every summer I always grab lots of hula skirts. Just simply add your hay bale and some pieces of the hay, and then we're going to arrange our pumpkins. Now, this one pumpkin that has this white stem, it was just bothering me. I don't know why they did that, but it was the only pumpkin that size and that color, so I just kind of went with the white stem. However, I did paint it. I used some antiquing wax and totally painted it into a brown stem. Now we're just going to take our pumpkins and arrange them. And then I took this thankful sticker, added it to the front, and you've got the cutest home decor for the fall. Now, talk about cuteness overload. This wreath is so adorable. I took these Dollar Tree pumpkin picks or stems and these mini wreath forms. I'm just going to end up using one of these. And then I grabbed these really cute trucks at Hobby Lobby. I love them so, so much. I want to add this blue one, and I also want to add some greenery via this garland stem. First thing you're going to do is just kind of take your pumpkins. You're going to cut them all off of the stems. You can certainly pull them if you wanted to, but I found that it kind of pulls the velvet if you do that. So just go ahead and snip them off, take the time. Now for this garland, I'm actually just kind of ripping apart. I'm pulling off these boxwood pieces. I did try and wrap it around the wreath form originally, but it was just kind of bulky. And I liked the way that the boxwood just kind of laid flatter on there, I guess. So some of the boxwood pieces have wire in them, and the ones that did have the wire remaining in them, I just twisted those around at various spots around the wreath form itself. And then for that little truck, I did add a piece of green tape on the back there. I added some glue, and then I added another piece of tape, and the truck is in place. Now for the pumpkins, I'm going to take these little velvet pumpkins and just kind of alternate them, different sizes, not different shapes, just different sizes, different colors, and just kind of work my way all around the wreath form. And when it is done, it creates the absolute cutest wreath I have. I wish that this wreath would be like a giant adult size one, if that even makes sense, because it is so, so cute. I absolutely love this so, so much. And I kind of want to make a giant one for my front door. And by the way, you may have been noticing my work surface here. This is a silicone crafting mat that I picked up on Amazon. It is linked in my description box below in my Amazon store. Nothing sticks to this. Hot glue, chalk paint, stain, everything will come out of this. All you have to do is add some cleanser, wipe it off, and you have a clean work surface to start your next project with. Definitely check it out. Now for this next DIY, I'm using this palette that I picked up from Dollar Tree in the plus section. I also grabbed this great stencil. This was from Hobby Lobby, and it came with two different kinds. Now this truck stencil, I loved it, and I needed to use it. Now I'm just going to add some antiquing wax to my board and get that the kind of color and the shade that I want. And then I am going to just kind of continue to rub it until it gives the color and the kind of contrast that I want. Definitely want to get those sides and those edges. Use a little paintbrush if you need to kind of get into those cracks. I did use my heat gun as well, just to kind of continue to let this dry. And then for that stencil, I just taped it down with my green tape here. And I'm out of my stenciling brushes, so I'm using a washcloth. It's an old washcloth, and I'm just kind of making sure that I'm doing it very, very slowly. I'm kind of going up and down and not trying to drag it left to right, and just being very, very, very patient with it. Now, as I'm kind of doing this, I'm just kind of holding different parts of the stencil down just to make sure that it doesn't shift around and move around until I've got the color that I want. I am going to take my heat gun and just kind of, speed up that drying process just a little. And then when I remove the stencil, as you can see, I've got the cutest little sign here. I'm loving it. Now I am going to add a little floral spray at the bottom. I'm just kind of cutting these pieces of wheat. I'm going to cut that metal kind of piece out of it and that just kind of pick them off of the stem. And then I'm just going to start gluing these down into a little spray underneath my truck. I was super, super happy with the way that this turned out. I think that this is so, so cute. I love the stencil size. I also love the sign. Again, the stencils came from Hobby Lobby and the sign came from Dollar Tree Plus. How cute is this? I also added some wood beads to the handle just to kind of give it a little bit more personality. You will absolutely die when you see how easy it is to turn these LED lanterns into solar lights. The pumpkin just kind of snaps apart. Take that light, put it aside, take your little pumpkin guy, snap him back together, and one of these Dollar Tree solar lights fits perfectly down inside of your pumpkin. Now you're going to want to remove that yellow tab just to make sure that your light works, and you've got the absolute cutest solar light that you are ready to put outside. Now, this is one of those motion activated ones. It's quite annoying. So I did remove that as well. And then I just took this one and glued it down right on top, and boom, you've got two of the cutest solar lights for next to nothing. Now, speaking of lights, we're going to turn this clear vase into a light with some Mod Podge, some string lights from Dollar Tree, and some napkins. Cut your napkins into some strips and then into smaller squares. We're going to take our glass vase here, and we're just going to add some Mod Podge to it, and then we're going to add our pieces and our squares to it. You can do this in strips, you can do it in squares, you can crinkle it up, let it dry for 24 hours, and then test your batteries out and your lights out with some batteries. Make sure that they work. Go ahead and uncoil your strings. Then you're going to drop that battery pack right down inside of that. It's great because it does come out really, really easily. Take your light string and just kind of feed it down into the vase, kind of like so, and you've got the absolute cutest accent lamp for your fall decor. Now, another creepy little light that we can make with some Dollar Tree finds is going to be this little lantern here. I'm going to take these, they're not really skeleton hands, I'm going to call them zombie hands. And we're going to create just kind of a spooky looking lantern. Now, I did use just a little bit of chalk paint here in this bright red. We're gonna call it blood red, and we're gonna take the fingers of those little hand pieces and dip the fingers in there, and then we're going to kind of make it look like, you know, there's some blood and they're trying to crawl up and maybe grab the lantern out of your hand here. And we're gonna take these hand pieces and we're just going to glue them onto the sides and kind of match them up with those fingerprints that we're creating. Now, I'm going to do this all around the lantern here, and some of them you can even take and you can cut them down, and obviously be careful with that. And then once again, just kind of painting those tips, and then adding some black ink chalk paint to the hands, and just kind of aging them a little bit more. And you've got kind of a creepy looking little lantern here. I think this is so cute for Halloween. Now, this next one is kind of a creepy DIY as well. We're going to use some of that leftover chalk paint that I had, that leftover blood, if you will, and we're going to take these clear chopping mats. Now, I need a inspiration, so I'm going to use my hand. We're going to take this chalk paint, and yes, I am painting my hand because I am covering my hand in blood. And we are using a combination of that brush that had the black ink chalk paint on it, as well as this red, which is why you kind of see some of the black in there and some of the darker pieces. And you're going to want to go ahead and coat a pretty thick amount. Now we're going to just take our handprint, and we're going to take our hand rather, and we're going to create a handprint on that chopping mat. Now, I did wash my hands, and then I did it with my other hand, as you can see here, and it creates two little blood splattered handprints on those clear chopping mats. And then after it dries, you're going to cut those out, and you are going to have a very creepy DIY that I will show you a little bit. Bats. I found more of the wood bats. If you saw my last haul, you know that I wanted to find some of these locally. I grabbed these when I was in Denver, and I was able to find 4 more. So I took them outside. Very, very simple. Spray painted them with some black matte Rust-Oleum spray paint. Look at my fireplace. I'm sorry, I just snorted too. I don't know if you heard that. I love the way this turned out. Those bloody handprints look so cool on the fireplace, and I love the way the bats are coming up out of the fireplace. You may have noticed my little ghost friends that were in the fireplace there. These are from Dollar Tree. I just simply bought 5 of them and I added them inside of my fireplace. And when it's all said and done, you've got the cutest little fireplace kind of creation here. Now for this next DIY, I'm going to use this wreath form and these flowers. I bought 9 of these. There were 3 different color combinations, so I bought 3 in each one. And we are going to take them all from the pots, and then we're going to take these stems and we are going to trim them down just a little bit. Now, once I've trimmed all of those stems down, by the way, I'm using my lineman pliers here. If you don't have a pair of lineman pliers, they make doing florals and wire cutting and things like that so easy. It is super fluid. You can also find this in my Amazon store below. Now, for those leaves, I am going to be adding just a little bit of hot glue because I do want to make sure that those leaves are kind of staying on those stems. Because you are cutting down the stems kind of close, you don't want those to slide off. So go ahead and just take the time and glue those down as well. And then for the wreath form, you're just going to take your wreath form. I flipped it over upside down and we are going to take our flowers here. I don't know if these are moms or what are these? Let me know in the comments below if you know what these are. But I thought they were pretty, and that's what we're going with, these pretty flowers. So you're just going to take them and you're literally straddling your wreath form, and then you're going to add some hot glue. And when you add the hot glue on the backs of this, you are then going to just kind of push your wreath form down. And when you do that, you've got everything that's going to really get nice and solid on there. Now I just took my flowers and just kind of fluffed them up a little bit, worked my way around. And then I added this black and white bow because this is going to be for my neighbor and she loves buffalo check. Now this next DIY is something that my mom has definitely kind of inspired me from. I'm grabbing these pumpkins, some styrofoam, and this old rusty truck. Now this truck was something that my mom got me for Christmas. It had a really cute Christmas tree in the back of it. And then just being outside, the weather has kind of got to it. And then I added some antiquing wax, kind of roughed it up or rusted it up a little bit. And now I'm going to add my foam blocks. Now I'm keeping them in the plastic because, believe it or not, it will actually be a little easier to remove those when I do want to decorate this up for Christmas. Now, go ahead and add your foam blocks in the back of kind of whatever vehicle you've got. And then again, we're pulling out the hula skirt. Hello, Megan, once again from Glue Guns and Roses. Definitely check out her channel. I'm sure you all know who she is already. And we're going to add some straw into the back of that. I'm going to add some glue right on top of those blocks just to help keep that straw down because this is going to eventually sit out on my front porch once again. And then I'm going to add my hay bales from Dollar Tree. If you can grab these hay bales, I recommend grabbing like 5 or 6 of them if you can. Glue those in the back of your truck, and then we're going to start adding our pumpkins. I went with all of these kind of burlap colored pumpkins, and when I'm all done, I've got the cutest little rusty old pickup truck that I can use for Christmas and other holiday seasons. All right, you guys, now I hope that you enjoyed these projects. Let me know in the comments below which ones were your favorite. I cannot wait to start decorating for fall. I am wearing shorts right now in this little flannel because it's still hot, and I realize it's hot, but as you guys know, I feel like fall and Christmas and Halloween goes by so quickly that we have to kind of start talking about it early, because if we don't, we're going to miss out on all the great projects that we can make. Now, if you are one of my subscribers, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you, and I look forward to bringing you a lot more projects very soon. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.